Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into an event that absolutely sent shockwaves through India's financial and cybersecurity sectors back in July 2026. We're talking about the Bank of Baroda data breach. Cybersecurity is one of those things we usually only notice when something goes catastrophically wrong. And in this case, something went very, very wrong. But instead of just reading off the alarming headlines, we're going to break down the actual mechanics of this breach. We'll go step by step to see exactly how this digital fortress was compromised. To really grasp the gravity of this event, we have to start with the sheer scale. 1,000 gigabytes. That is an entire terabyte of highly sensitive information. Now, in the digital world, a terabyte isn't just a handful of spreadsheets, right? It is a massive, sprawling warehouse of documents, images, and internal records. And that brings us to the most pressing question for millions of people right now. Is your bank data in here? I mean, if you bank with one of India's largest public sector lenders, seeing a massive leak like this immediately makes the stakes incredibly personal. So how on earth did a terabyte of data allegedly end up on the open web? Let's get into Section 1, the 1 terabyte data leak. Okay, so here is the rapid timeline of exactly how this crisis became public. It all kicked off on Friday, July 24th, 2026. A new entry suddenly appears on a public threat monitoring tracker called ransomware.live. A group calling itself XXX claimed they had exfiltrated roughly a terabyte of data from Bank of Baroda. By the very next day, July 25th, cybersecurity researchers, including cashless consumer founder Srikanth Lakshmanan, were already reviewing sample files shared by the group. They immediately flagged the incident to authorities like CERT-In and the RBI. And finally, on Monday, July 27th, Bank of Baroda broke its silence. They put out a carefully worded official statement officially acknowledging the incident. Moving on to Section 2, Anatomy of the Breach. Let's peel back the layers here. So the bank confirmed that an employee's email account was compromised, and that's what resulted in the unauthorized access to certain data. But, and this is a massive but we need to emphasize, they explicitly stated that their core banking system was not accessed. It remains completely secure. Think of it like a physical bank building. The attackers didn't use some high-tech thermal lance to melt through the reinforced steel vault where the actual money and transaction ledgers live. No, instead, they basically just swiped an employee's keycard and casually walked into the back office where the filing cabinets are kept. Your actual money? Untouched. But the documents used to open your account? Those were suddenly wide open. When you look at the attack chain here, it's actually disarmingly, almost comically ordinary. Step 1 was just a stolen password. The threat actors claimed they simply found a weak password. There was literally no exotic Hollywood-style firewall hack going on here. It was just a valid login in the wrong hands. Step 2, the trusted inbox. Over the years, corporate email accounts kind of become these silent document warehouses. Employees forward KYC forms, loan files, audit reports, and they just sit there, gathering digital dust. Then, Step 3, the unmonitored path. Because the attacker was using a trusted identity, they had a lateral path to shared repositories and cloud drives without setting off any immediate alarms. And finally, Step 4, quiet exfiltration. The attacker just initiated a bulk download of those files straight out to their own infrastructure. It's wild to think about, but the core failure wasn't a broken firewall. It was simply a failure in identity and access management. Which leads us to Section 3, what was actually stolen? Now, this leak wasn't just a basic list of names and email addresses. It's split into two pretty devastating categories. On the customer side, researchers flagged highly sensitive identity documents. We're talking Aadhaar numbers, PAN copies, passport-size photographs, and detailed loan appraisal files. But look at the internal bank data. The dump allegedly included branch audit reports, vigilance investigation records, and even audit reports tied to the bank's Bob World mobile app. This just shows the staggering blast radius of what a single compromised employee account could actually access. To really put a human face on this, cybersecurity experts who reviewed the dark web claims estimated that anywhere from 100,000 to a maximum of 300,000 KYC account opening forms were exposed. That means potentially hundreds of thousands of everyday citizens literally had their most sensitive identification documents laid bare on the internet. Let's talk about who did this. In Section 4, the threat actor, XXX. XXX operates using a pretty modern playbook known in the industry as double extortion. But what makes this specific incident so fascinating, and honestly pretty terrifying, is that XXX skipped the negotiation part entirely. Normally, a group will lock the files and demand a ransom for the decryption key. Not here. They simply stole the data and dumped the entire terabyte for free. On their leak site, they claim they did it to, quote, teach a lesson regarding weak passwords. By giving all that data away, they inflicted maximum brand and reputational damage instantly. They were generating massive regulatory pressure rather than just chasing a quick financial payout.
So what can we do? Section 5. Actionable precautions for customers.
The absolutely crucial point right now is how you protect yourself. If your KYC documents were leaked, fraudsters now have your real Aadhaar, PAN, and address. This makes their scams incredibly convincing, so you must stick to these precautions. First off, never share OTPs, PINs, or passwords. A real bank will never, ever ask for them. Second, be hyper-vigilant about fake KYC re-verification calls. If a caller sounds official and even knows your loan details, just hang up and call the bank's official 1-800 customer care number yourself. Third, do not install any unknown APK files sent via WhatsApp or SMS. Just don't do it. Fourth, monitor your bank statements and credit reports closely for any unusual activity. And finally, enable multi-factor authentication, MFA, on your net banking immediately.
I want to leave you with this really powerful thought from our sources today. Cybersecurity is no longer just an IT problem. It's a shared responsibility involving people, processes, and technology. You see, the Bank of Baroda breach didn't happen because of a failure in some high-tech server encryption. It happened because an identity was compromised, and internal processes allowed that identity way too much access. As digital banking keeps growing, defending our data relies just as much on informed employees and vigilant customers as it does on strong firewalls. So take a moment to check your own digital hygiene today. Are your passwords actually unique? Is your MFA turned on? Because if a single weak employee password can expose 300,000 identities from a major financial institution, you really have to ask yourself, how secure is the data sitting in your own inbox right now?